quite a huge transition, going beyond all the Western countries and going into the Oriental world. It's a study done in India before 5 years, and it was my bachelor's thesis which I'm presenting. It has no relation with my PhD that I'm working on here, but bit of it will help me actually to guide and inform the kind of thing that I'm going to do, because I'm looking at health-based behavior patterns, and here also I'm looking at substance abuse, and substance abuse is one of the problems that I'm exploring in my research. And I'm also looking at youth from socially disadvantaged background, but I'm not looking at the youth that I had considered for this study. I'm looking specifically at LGBTQI population for my PhD, and this is a study which was done in my own hometown, Bhubaneswar, which is, I'm just giving a bit of background before I tell you about what's literature review and all that stuff. So, Bhubaneswar is the city capital of a state known as Odisha in the country India, from where I belong to, and that's my hometown. Why I conducted this study was it was motivated by the reason that I had to do a project, first thing. Second thing is that I was interested in this area then because I was taking abnormal psychology and clinical psychology and several courses, and I was getting interested in alcohol and drug abuse. And I wanted to know as to why do people drink and engage in different kind of substance abuse. And to my utter dismay, what came is that there is not much data available, and I had to actually struggle for 6 months before I could even start writing anything. And so I'm presenting before you the thing which I came up with, and I duly acknowledge Australian government and AUSAID's, Australian Leadership Awards, with which the support of which I am here to present this paper. Otherwise, I would have been in Australia. Okay, so WHO defines alcoholism. All of you know this as alcohol dependence syndrome. Is a state, psychic, and usually physical, resulting from taking alcohol, characterized by behavioral and other responses that always include a compulsion to take alcohol on a continuous or periodic basis in order to experience its psychic effects, and sometimes to avoid the discomfort of its absence. Tolerance may or may not be present. So this seems to be a very comprehensive definition, and this is from WHO, which has come up, of course, after a lot of international work. So the major causes identified are multifold, but can be categorized basically as individual, which includes biological and psychological, and sociocultural. So individual causes are many, but I have just noted on few. They can be preference, genetic, personality attributes, and personality maladjustment. In the personality attribute, we can list several things: extroversion, neuroticism, and different other stuff. But type A and type B personality has been said to be involved in this, in the causation of this. And then psychological, stress and strains, mental health issues, different kind of mental health issues, well-being issues, and depression, they all cause alcohol and drug abuse. There are several biological regions which have been investigated over the years, and they are mostly Western country regions. There is not much done in India, to be true. So they are these, like a glandular dysfunction, liver deficiency, hyperinsulinism, acetylcholine imbalance, etc., etc. There are several sociocultural issues and regions why people engage in alcohol and drug abuse: cultural practices, religious tradition, family and community factors, parental variables, etc., etc. So these are all coming from Western countries and studies done in Western countries. I am looking at adolescence and basically youth. Adolescence is famous for its energy, which is mostly susceptible to get distracted to an extent of causing harms to the person himself. And the major factor attribution which are done for the alcohol and drug abuse are quite complicated. Actually, it's done in a very different way. There are several factors like peer pressure, desire to socialize and enjoy in groups, and experiment with diversity, and that puts actually the youth in risk of developing an addiction to different kind of psychoactive substances, and is evidence worldwide. Though the nature and degree of psychoactive substances vary across cultures and contexts, there is controversy regarding the issue of substance use patterns and the regions thereof, as numerous studies suggest. Ironically, a country as vast as India and as diverse as India, culturally, socially and linguistically, you'll find that there is almost no presence of substantial, any data, any epidemiological or any psychological data explaining the substance use patterns, regions and the socio-demographic profiles, except few unupdated, very old data from Government of India, which I don't want to corroborate here. They won't help, no way. And so there is, it very well indicates that there is no presence of any strong research culture to showcase any kind of substantial data or research in each state of India, because each state of India has its own unique features, and that's how it poses several challenges as well as opportunities. So we have to go by a SWOT analysis when we approach any kind of problem. We don't have to say that whatever is seen in, for example, the extreme northern part of India, for example, Jammu Kashmir or New Delhi, that is seen in Kerala or Tamil Nadu. They are different states. I know all of you are, most of you are not aware of these states' name, neither do know as to where these states are. I'm just giving you a case. If you have to compare a huge country like India, like from one part of India to another part of India, from this part of India to that part of India, everything is different. Everything is different within the same state itself. Here you see in New South Wales, after I have been here for 6 months, and I am seeing a huge research culture which actually does a lot of elite class research. We call them elite class research because we have gone beyond grassroots level and hand to mouth research, which shows some kind of epidemiological data, and beyond that you come up with a lot more nuanced analysis of it. So what is done here is coming out with, like for example, NDAS does a lot of IDRS and EDRS and different kind of data to show as to what kind of drugs are available in the market and how people are using it. So they are actually coming out with a lot of data regarding the people's usage patterns and the regions and everything. And it is done periodically. We have nothing of that sort present in India. So I'm just presenting this because this is the study. This is the only study which I found out. This literature review was done with all my naiveness and noviceness into research career in 2005, and I am presenting the same without any new literature. And this is the only one which I found out after a lot of search, and this was a study made by Ministry of Welfare, NIST, Government of India in 1992. After that, I didn't find anything. The percentage of addiction is high in Bhubaneswar in age group of 15 to 20, which is also there in many parts of the world, and drops down sharply between 21 to 35. The average age for drug taking is 25 in Bhubaneswar. In Bhubaneswar is the city capital's name, and I'll be using it again and again. 60% of the eldest sons were more drinking along with other drugs. So I'm looking at your birth order as well, and can it be region a contributory factor for any kind of alcohol or drug abuse. And caste system has been also implicated to be a causative factor in contributing the drug abuse. So as higher the caste status, higher is the addiction number. In Bhubaneswar, the rate of alcoholics in Brahmin were 51.4%, Kshatriyas 30%, Vaishyas 17.2%, and non-Hindu 14%. So these three first forms of names for all the Western country people here, these are the names of castes. Because India is known for its caste system, and we have 4 different broad systems of caste, and these are the 3 broader systems of caste. And the last caste system, which is known as Sudras, that has not been represented in this study, and it very well shows that socially disadvantaged background people are not studied very well. And then education has its direct links, and businessmen of all kinds are highly represented. The study done in 1992 shows that businessmen were engaging more in alcohol abuse. It shows that people who are rich, they can afford it. People who can't, then what are they doing? Nothing shows. So it means either they don't drink or they drink, but people don't drink. So 60% of all addicts belong to joint family, and the possible reasons are overpressure and burden, restrictions and impositions placed on the individual, suppression of individual wishes and desires, lack of respect for individuality, and economic has a burden. 30% of people have opinion that parents don't have time for children. 47% of high family problems and drug abuse of elders cause 58.6% to be gentle. So this is the review of literature from this huge document, which shows that these are the regions. I'll go now as to what prompted me or motivated me to conduct this small but very preliminary study. There is almost no presence, there is lack of objective, precise and adequate data and estimations, and almost no research in the area of addiction, substance abuse and intellectual problems. It presents before us a challenge to study the community-based cross-cultural dynamics of consumption and requires to establish a context-specific analysis of addiction pathology rather than an assumption of the generalizability of the Western country data. Generally, it has been assumed that you read all the textbooks brought from America and everything written in the American textbooks are held to be true, but it's not true. The reason is that you don't know what is happening because there is no study done and you don't have money to conduct those studies. Neither are there many qualified people to conduct those kind of studies. At present there are, but not many studies are done. Most of the studies done are in clinical settings and they only focus on those people who come to the clinic. And they are done, they are published, after that people forget. No state level or no regional or no national level studies being conducted to show as to this is what is happening and what is actually motivating. The few objectives with which I started are exploring the causes of alcohol and other drug addiction among the low ACS youth in Bhubaneswar. The study to study the alcohol consumption patterns, socio-demographic variables, and the major causes of consumption. It also aimed at understanding the complex etiology and pathology of the disorder by highlighting the precise regions in an area of lack of any viable objective. It also wanted to create an understanding and awareness of the common causes among the users, as this is likely to work as a strategy for targeted interventions later. The study also aimed at creating a prevention strategy among the community members by making them aware of the complex interrelated etiology of the problem. Few facts of my study. There were 50 people who were chosen by convenient sampling. Sex composition was exclusively made, the reason being that females in India don't drink. They do, but they do it in metropolitan cities. It might appear quite astonishing to all of you, but it is true. Next, the location of the study was in India and in the city of Bhubaneswar. The samples was selected from 10 slums of Bhubaneswar and 5 people from East slum. Research tools used was a self-made questionnaire for etiological analysis with 64 items. Age composition was 15 to 35 years of age. Socioeconomic status, low income, ranging from no income to 5,000 rupees per month, which comes about at present $110 Australian dollars. And the duration of the study was in January, so it took around 1 month to conduct the study and to collect the data. Okay. I have a very simple analysis of the problem, and then I was a simple novice into the research. I didn't know anyone. There was no one to guide me properly, though I had a formally appointed supervisor for my bachelor's thesis. No one did it. I did it myself, and that's how I'm presenting it. I'm just presenting something which is very preliminary, and I'll come up with some insights from that. So the 10 most and least attributable factors are social ceremonies and parties, thought of reduction of physical exertion, imitation of elders, appreciation and praise from parents, relief from frustration, familiar drinking by other family members, person under psychological pressure, lower economic status and poverty, life full of stress and strains, peer pressure to conform. So these are the major regions which are very much individual and socio-cultural, which give rise to several psychological underpinnings in it, and they in turn contribute to alcohol and drug abuse. There are different least attributable factors which I actually borrowed from Western studies, and I wanted to see as to whether are they applicable or not. So they are sexual frigidity of wife, sexual infertility of wife, problems faced in sexual researches. People were very close to those ideas. They didn't want to say anything. So you can see the very low percentage of support or any saying yes or no or whatever. They didn't as such see that they can be regions. I asked them 3 questions, and that was crucial. The questions were: what is the common age when you started drinking, and at what age, in which situation did you start your first drink, in which months of the year you drink more, and whether you prefer to drink alone or with your friends. These questions were asked specifically because we wanted to know that which year, at which year they start. So the onset of the drinking starting to drink, and what actually factors contribute to start drinking. And then another thing is which month of the year you drink more. So because in India you have several festivals in each month, and generally among several tribal people and different castes, there are several social festivities which kind of bring a spurt in drinking pattern, and then again there is a kind of plateau and decrease in the drinking pattern. They don't drink all times of year. They drink during those festivity times, and then after that they again do it. So and then whether you prefer to drink alone or with your friends. So it actually wanted to see whether their peer company and pressure, all that stuff, does that contribute or not. So it found out that there are several A's and situations which gave rise to this thing. They mostly started because they wanted to experiment. They had curiosity, and they had few other social interpersonal problems in their personal life which contribute to this. And there are different months of the year, basically festive months, winter and rainy season, and few other people said there is no specific month as such. Drinking pattern is basically loneliness, enjoyment, and group conformity. There is a mixed thing. Like some people drink when they are lonely, some people drink because they are with their friends. So there is no as such a particular trend or skewed data which says that only people when they are lonely or they will drink. It doesn't show anything of that sort.
2 minutes?
Yeah, 2 minutes. Yeah. Okay. So the estimation of contribution is in this case is the maximum number of the most important factor in contributing to drinking pattern was observed as developmental factors, and that contributed most. And the second one is stresses and trends of life. Third one is cognitive factors. Fourth, personal problems of life, and then personality attributes like this. Results and discussion. The most dominant contributing factor for alcoholic usage was social ceremony and parties, and the least supported factor was found to be sexual related. I will discuss this more because I have already shown you the tables. Now the most important part of this presentation, implications of the study. Then I strongly feel that there needs to be an emphasis on collection and creation of a robust database of the increasingly diversified complex dynamics of consumption patterns and behavior in smaller communities and different parts of India. We can't assume that it is universally applicable or universally similar. There is need of creating a basis for further research in this area in small cities and towns of India than just taking larger metropolis as representative of the situation, because the literature review that I have, most of the studies are conducted in metropolis. No studies are conducted in smaller towns or tier 2 cities even. There is need to move beyond the clinical cases and emphasize on public health based approach of creating epidemiological analysis, complementary psychological analysis. There needs to be more researches which will complement and build on the socio-cultural factors like family and social system of each state of India equipped with robust methodology. More intensive data linkage studies and longitudinal cross-sectional studies can be done across states. There is need to move beyond a Western conceptualization of consumption behavior in communities and build a cross-cultural and context-specific reasoning analysis. A humble beginning is never an end. So I started with that, and it's just a starting point for bringing people and ideas together. And that's how I conceptualized that study before 5 or 6 years ago, and I'm now. Thank you.